What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Moving with Life. This episode one. This will be episode 144. Hopefully, you all have had a good week. I know it delayed, and then I had work, and I could give you all the excuses, but matter of fact is that I posted the last episode as soon as I could. And then here we are, off to a new episode. Jocko Willink released his new book recently, Final Spin, and I'm almost halfway done. I'm not quite halfway done, but as I was reading actually last night, I came across a chapter that, man, for one, so much relevancy, at least for me. I know people who are going to read this on their own, they're probably going to find a lot of relevancy in their, if you make it personal to you and you kind of, maybe if you don't know somebody, maybe you're the one who feels like this. And this part that I'm going to get into, the chapter and section I'm going to get into, it's pretty short. All the chapters are pretty short. It's really, I wanted to say comic, but it's not comical. It's very, for me, it feels like it's like a movie, but on paper. It's like a script. That's what it feels like, because you're here and then you're there, and he's telling you where you're at this time of the book, and it's really neat. And the chapter being good, it's like it's this perspective, then it's going to this angle, then it's going to this angle. So it's like moving around, but yet there is a central theme, and that's what I really enjoy about this book so far. Like I said, I'm almost halfway. I need a little more before I'm halfway done, but I'm going to continue. It's been hard to put down, for sure. I want to get into it. I'm not trying to use too much time. So yeah, let me do that. I also read this, and I'll put it here on this side. It'll be here on the bottom. I also read a short ebook. It's titled "On Avoiding Burnout" by Matthias Barker. He has Matthias J Barker, which I believe his Instagram is. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the show notes. But to me, there was a lot of correlation, because then some of the questions that I got, what's going on in your life right now that's making this current circumstance difficult? And for me, there was a big correlation, because I had just read this book. It's pretty short. It's only 14, 15. No, I'll tell you right now. It's 23 pages total, to include the little work areas, but it's only 14 pages to the very end. Which is it's really short. For me it was very easy to read, to get through. It wasn't it also didn't take too much time. It's like, oh yeah, I do relate to that. I do relate to that, and he gives you some little extras at the bottom, which I really liked. You have to sign up for his newsletter in order to get the free ebook, that's what I did, and it's pretty cool. So anyways, that's related to this, and I want to get into the Final Spin by Jocko Willink, so that we can then just kind of have a short discussion. Hopefully you get something out of this, and then we'll go from there. Shots are done. Drinks are consumed. Problems fade, but they don't go away. They don't go away. When I wake up in the morning, I'll still be here. Not here, but here. All the booze won't make them go away. I need to do what I'm supposed to do. What I still can do. So essentially, the way I've summarized this to other friends and colleagues that I've just mentioned this book to is that there's Johnny, which he's one of the main characters. There's Artie, which is his brother. And the way I described it is there's sub characters too. There's people involved. There's things moving. There's things happening. Things moving around. But everything comes back to Johnny. And this chapter, for me, I felt very relatable. I felt very relatable, and it made me think, and because it's relatable and made me keep thinking, I kept reading, and I think this chapter really has drawn me in. Technically it's chapter 15, but again, like I said, the chapters are short. But that was just a little beginning of chapter 15, the end of chapter 14 into 15. I need to do what I'm supposed to do, what I still can do. He feels like he's lost. I'm just thinking, yeah, no shit. So here he's talking to Jessica, which is his girlfriend, but not girlfriend, if that makes sense. I'm just thinking, yeah, no shit. What are you thinking about? This, This, Jessica says, slightly annoyed. This what? This. Us. What about us? Us, our lives, our existence. Do you think this is it? Johnny asks genuinely. Jessica is pragmatic. Yeah, of course this is it. This is how life goes. You're born, you go to school, you get a job, then you work. You meet some people along the way, you get old and die. That's it. What did you expect? Fame and fortune? She says fame and fortune with a hint of disgust, as if it is a childish fantasy. Johnny picks up on that. He's a little embarrassed. No, not fame and fortune, but something bigger. Bigger than what? Jessica asks. Bigger than Maximart? Bigger than BB's Bar? Bigger than this? You know, like the rest of the world. Don't you want to see it? Jessica thinks about that for a moment, but not for too long. She already knew her answer, and once she checked her thoughts, she gives it. I don't know. I think it's pretty much all the same. Johnny lets that sink in. Then he says, I don't. Jessica tries to de-escalate the conversation. Well, the grass is always greener on the other side. The de-escalation doesn't work. Well, I don't want to take someone else's word about that. Jessica is silent for a moment. She understands what he is saying, or trying to say. She tries to find out an out for him and for herself. It doesn't matter. You can't just leave here. Neither can I. That's not the way the world works. So might as well make the best of it. Make the best of it? Make the best of this? Johnny asks earnestly. I'm not going to. I can't convince myself that this is it. This shit is supposed to be my This shit is supposed to be my fucking destiny. I was put on this earth to be a fucking stock boy but at a fucking Maximart. Jessica is silent. Johnny continues. No, I cannot convince myself of that. There has to be more. There has to be. Am I supposed to feel bad because I'm a waitress? I've got to make a fucking living. I've got to pay rent. Yeah, but like this, those people who wait on you every day, they've got money, houses, cars. Why? Because they were born into the right families? Because someone picked up the tab for them to go to college? They aren't any smarter than you. They sure shit aren't any harder working. They just got lucky. Really? Really? None of this is on you. Or me. I fucked up a lot of things. No one made me cut classes in high school. No one made me quit community college. I did that. You can't put your shit on someone else. This is where I am right now. I put myself here. You put yourself where you are. We can't blame the rest of the world. If you don't like where you are, fix it. I'm gonna try. And then from there, it goes into like kind of like the next sub scene before the chapter ends. And that's literally the chapter. The chapter is literally. I read the beginning. I skipped a little piece. Read the rest of it, and then here's the end of the chapter going into chapter 16. That's not what I think. Is that where? I'll just put that's where I saw for now because I can't remember now at the moment. But anyway, so that's how short the chapters are. You know, took me a few minutes maybe. But and this because in this story, I think Johnny says he's like 23 years old or so. It's like when he says, "Do you think this is it?" And then of course Jessica gives her like, "Yeah, of course." Like she's being like mildly sarcastic, but she's like, "Well, yeah. Well, like what else do you expect?" Which is what she said. But again, once I got into that, I'm like, man, especially again towards the end of chapter 14 where they were at a bar. So it's him and a friend, and then Jessica was there too, and it just made me think. Like I said, it was just like, man, like, and I used to think deeper about that. And now that I've been fortunate enough to kind of be in a situation where I've been able to travel a little more, I've been able to experience more things, meet new people, try a bunch of new foods, try a bunch of new beer, and bring those stories back to, you know, my experience from work and my experience with people that I've met. And I just felt it strong enough to want to bring that. Because again, like I tried to read it as not as best I could, but I try to read it, you know, appropriately. You know, the question marks, the giving the different perspectives, trying to drive those things home. And like I said, I guess I remember, and I couldn't give specific moments because even in the book, you know, it's like at one point Johnny's asking himself, like, you know, what was it? One big thing? Is it one big thing, or is it thousands of little things that has kind of like put me in this situation? And there where he talks about, you know, I quit school. I barely got my basically got high school diploma, barely dropped out of community college. You know, all these little things kind of have added up to where he is and the way he feels now. And when I read Matthias's ebook, I had just read that maybe Friday, Saturday, it's around there, and then I got this book on Friday. Started reading it yesterday, today's Tuesday, so I started reading it Monday-ish, Monday morning, and then a little bit today. And again, this is just me bringing this little piece of the books. I'm looking forward to finishing it, and I am biased. I've acknowledged this, but it's a good novel. It's short. I feel like it's very readable. I feel like because of the text, the way the format is, it's very digestible to you. I'm engaged. I guess I can give my perspective, my opinion for now, because now it's a whole different. Now they're in a whole different situation, and it's pretty. For me, it's pretty intense. Like I feel like I'm there, and I'm like watching. I'm watching this thing happen. I would really like to see this as a movie, a short film, maybe Echo Charles. I mean, I don't think they'll see this specific me doing my podcast, but I feel like this is very doable as a movie. It'd be really neat to see. I guess I can bring another question. I mean, we're gonna close this out pretty soon. This is gonna be one of the shorter podcasts I've done in a while. Because the first one I brought up that I got from the ebook was what's going on in your life right now that's making this current circumstance difficult. Again, he's talking about burnout, and sometimes when you're getting burnt out, when you start, the goals that you're getting to is becoming not worth, or it's taking so much emotional. Not power, but emotional like energy, that you start like lashing out and like start like doing things that you really wouldn't mean if you had more sleep, or if you had a break, or if you went to work out, if that's your thing, whatever it may be. There's so many things he talks about. Going for a walk, going for dinner, being social, for a little while. That helps, if that helps you get back into gear. And the three main things that he had brought up, and I'll read this, and because I'm only gonna put I have already put the like the cover of the of the ebook, and I'll put his from Instagram on the show notes, so you can go sign up for his newsletters and read if you're interested about burnout and his perspective on burnout. Because up until recently, that was the word I had been using a lot, because I had been getting tired as far as like being on the road playing music. I really got tired, and it's funny. And the irony is that I'm on the road, not as much as often, but I've done things that I'm not in Texas. I'm out doing different things, but again, I'm not home. One of the points the first point he brings up is we organize how much time and energy these domains receive based on what we value most. For me, values, and that's what Johnny's really questioning himself about here too. I never thought about tying in like work, being driven for work with my values. It's always been like I like something, which I guess it has to be related. There has to be some type of correlation. But when I see when I do see ego rise, or I see these discussions and arguments come up, and it seems like it's ego driven. It's like I don't want any part of it, and that's just the I hate saying that's just the way it is, but that's the way I am. And I've grown into. I think I've grown into that. It's not that I was like this all the time. It's not like my not that my mindset or my way of thinking was like this all the time. But now here we are in the present, and it's like what these things that we give energy to. What do our values correlate to these things? And it's made me think. Again, it's made me think along with this book, and I think subconsciously feeling like Johnny, I'm not in that type of, he's in a very specific, I think, like living situation too with his brother and his mom and the people that are in his life. I'm definitely not going through what he's. If he were a real person, I'm definitely not going through that. He says about maybe you keep working this job and you hate under a boss that doesn't have good boundaries, overworks you, and doesn't appreciate your work. Or maybe you go home every day and keep watching TV instead of talking to your spouse, or you drink or binge shop or overeat, and that just goes on repeat for the next 5 years. If I were watching a movie about your life and the scene cut to 5 years from now, what would I see? How do you feel about that outcome? But it's like if someone watches the movie of you today, or let's say 5 years ago. Let's say they're watching a movie of you 5 years ago, or me and you were watching a movie of you 5 years ago, or watching a movie of me 5 years ago. Where is what I'm doing now, is what you're doing now a level up to what you were doing 5 years ago, or whatever goals you had 5 years ago, are they in line, in tune with what you're doing now, or have you just essentially wasted 5 years, or at least not used them efficiently? That's the whole part of being efficient and intentional with your time and your energy is about that. Is about spending that free time, spending that time off, and sometimes it is, hey, please don't, I'll do all the work I can, but hey, boss, I need a break, asking for that break. I'm not trying to go on to too many tangents today, because I really wanted to just kind of go off final spin and go from there. And we're gonna wrap up. I'm done. I already read the questions for number 3. Quick, easy. I hope you got something out of it. Again, the book is Final Spin by Jocko Willink. I just did a little excerpt. And then Matthias's Burnout ebook that you have to sign up for on avoiding burnout. You got to sign up for his newsletter in order to get that free ebook. And what drew me to him was just his TikToks. He makes good TikToks, and he posts on Instagram and TikTok. But he gives different scenarios and different ways to think about things when it comes to trauma, childhood trauma, adult trauma, depression, anxiety, all those things that are part of the mental health, and trying to better my mental health, so that when I'm at work, when I'm talking with family and friends, when I'm working on the podcast, working on my goals, it's like, okay, where are we at, and how can we keep moving? So again, I hope you got something out of this. Thank you for joining me for this week. Hopefully you all have a good rest of your Thursday. Enjoy your weekend. Thanksgiving's next week. That's freaking crazy. And then what? Probably like obviously it's like a month from now that we'll be in Christmas, and then that's it. The year's over. A lot of exciting things I'm thinking about. As I've said here, even like last week, I think is like I'm very bad at scheduling. I'm very bad at doing certain things as far as sticking to my plan. But I know in my brain, I know in my head, and things that won't allow me to go past certain lines of my own lines. I have my own restrictions that keep me kind of directional. We'll keep this podcast moving and keep building. That's the goal, is to keep building, and hopefully as I get better at this and then start having guests again, it'll be fun. It'll be good. You'll enjoy it as much as I do. I enjoy this, especially finding an excerpt like that from Jocko's book, or from any book, but in this case, for today's episode, for Jocko's book, where you just kind of throwing a light bulb of like, yeah, sometimes we feel like Johnny, if you try to drink it away, sometimes that, sometimes I'll say sometimes, a lot of times, most times it's not the answer. You can try to, and that's where people get lost and people go down that rabbit hole of alcohol. But it's not the solution. It's really not the solution. And sometimes working out isn't the solution. Sometimes it's writing. Sometimes it's going out socially, going out with a good people that are positive in your life, that encourage you to pursue those things that you need to do. All right, I'm done rambling. Take care of yourself, mentally, physically. Take care of your teams. Take care of your household. If you have a team, lead from the front. Ask for help if you need it. Happy Thanksgiving coming up. After Thanksgiving, we can talk about Christmas. And I look forward to more conversation, more questions, more thoughts, more interaction. Yeah, y'all have a good one.